Do girls mature faster than boys? What do you think? I'm Nicolene Peck, and I teach parenting, relationships, communication all over the world. And today we are going to answer that question and a whole lot more. So, do girls mature faster than boys? People generally assume the answer to that is yes. But the answer is actually yes and no. I'm going to explain the no, but first let's explain the yes. The science actually has proven that girls mature faster than boys. They've studied the brain, they've done brain imaging, and the neuroscience does show that the girl brain does reach maturity quicker than the boy brain. There's probably reasons for that. Some of the reasons might include ways that the children play, the types of things that they imagine. So girls are definitely more inclined to nurture. This is just part of the way many girls are wired, and so they think in terms of relationships. They're oftentimes a lot more verbal because their play has to do with relationships. Many boys engage in a lot of action play, so less words, more action, and because of that they don't oftentimes have as much conversation, so this can lead to less maturity over the long haul. In fact, many boys stay in their own head instead of socializing. Now, I know that this can mix, right? Depending on the personality of a child. Some children are a little bit more withdrawn, others are more outgoing, some talk all the time, boy or girl. I get that. But just by nature, it seems like that there is a maturing that happens. Now, whether it has to do with play or not, I'm not sure. That's my hypothesis, but I've noticed that there is a difference from the way that my girls communicate and the ways that my boys communicate. And I think this probably does lead to increased maturity over the long haul. We also know that girls typically physically mature faster than boys as well. So they go through puberty quicker, their bodies reach their full height quicker as well. So this is just the way that girls are physically as well as neurologically. So there's the yes. They do, we see it, but we all know that one girl that's really immature compared to the boys, right? That can happen. So that brings us to the no. Do sometimes boys mature faster than girls? Yes. Well, why sometimes does that happen? A lot of that has to do with our environment. So let's talk about that. Before I dive into why some girls are less mature than boys, subscribe to this channel. I come up with videos like this every day and they get released all the time. You will not want to miss them. So click subscribe now. So here's a piece of good news. We all have neuroplasticity, which means that our brains can change all the time. In fact, we can develop maturity at any age. I know that I've met some very young children who are very mature for their ages. And I've wondered, how did this child become so mature? Then I meet their parents, and a lot of those questions are put to rest because I recognize that their parent is talking to them in a way and instructing them in a way that has led to increased maturity. Whether they are a boy or a girl, their brain can expand all the time. So maybe a girl who has the ability to have increased maturity over her boy counterparts is less mature because the parents have not contributed to an increase in maturity at all. If a child is looking at a device all of the time, or maybe they're in isolation and don't have as much social interaction with their family members, and maybe they're not of a learning inclination, then that child is going to seem much more immature, whether they are a girl or a boy. I would like to share with you some key things that you can do to improve your child's maturity, no matter whether your child is a girl or a boy. So one key thing you can do, which I've already kind of touched on, is make sure that you've got some good social interaction that's happening. Relationships really do lay the foundation for increased maturity. So if your child learns how to have good relationships or has healthy relationships within the family, then they will have maturity in all of their relationships. Another thing that you can do is teach your child self-government. I'm known all over the world for teaching the skills and principles of self-government. Some of those skills include things like accepting no answers, disagreeing appropriately, following instructions, accepting consequences. When a person learns skills like this, they teach themselves how to rein themselves in. This is a very mature process to learn. If you know how to accept a no answer, you know how to keep calm, how to drop the subject, how to say okay or disagree appropriately if things don't go your way. These are very adult skills. In fact, they increase the connections in the brain. They actually grow synapses for the person. This increases their maturity. So no matter the age, you can teach a person new skills, and that will always help them increase their maturity. Skills help a child develop cognitively. So that's important. So we've got social development, relationship development, cognitive development. They also need problem-solving development. So how do you help them with their problem-solving development? Well, the answer might surprise you. One of the best ways to teach our children good problem solving is to have an environment that also is revolving around the law of cause and effect. So this means that you correct your children. That's right. In order to teach your children to be good problem solvers, you need to analyze their behaviors and their decisions and what's going on, maybe even their tone and their attitudes. And then you need to correct them when things are not going well. As part of a really good correction, a really good self-government correction, you always teach them what they should have done, and you practice doing things the right way. When you correct your children, you are going to help them develop more maturity and know how to correct problems in the future. When a child knows how to correct problems, they are more confident. This confidence leads them to try new, harder things, which then leads to more confidence and more maturity for the future. As well as the skills I've been talking about, there is a great skill that your child and your whole family can learn. This skill is about creating a cycle for success. In fact, we oftentimes get trapped in some of our expectations, which lead us to have the type of environment that is maybe a little bit too emotional or overwhelming. If you find yourself stuck in that environment from time to time, then the next class that I have for you is going to be really helpful. Because you've stayed to the end of this video, then I am going to provide for you another link where you can join me on the class, The Expectation Trap versus the Cycle for Success. Click on that link now, and I will see you there.